What's up, Tailgaters? You're in the booth with Tailgate Nate today. Welcome to my channel. Week 2 predictions are finally here. Apologize it's taken me this long to get them out. There will not be as many Week 2 prediction videos this week as there were for Week 1 last week. But let me tell you guys, if you thought Week 1 was interesting, boy, Week 2 has the potential to be an even bigger week, starting with this matchup right here. College game day is going to be here. It's by far the biggest matchup of the week. You got the Texas Longhorns, the Alabama Crimson Tide. It's a top 11 showdown in Bryant-Denny Stadium. Before we dive into the preview prediction, thank you guys so much for your support on the channel. As of late, it means a lot if you want to help continue to show your support for the channel during the college football season. My apologies, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you know when that video gets uploaded. But there are more ways than that to help me support my channel. Hey, you guys are doing one right now by watching the video, and you guys can do more by liking, commenting, sharing, anything else you guys are willing and or able to do to help me support my channel. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive on into this Week 2 prediction video. Again, you got the Texas Longhorns, you got the Alabama Crimson Tide. This was a really, really good game. Down in Austin last season, came right down to the wire. Alabama was able to pull away. Quinn Ewers ended up getting hurt. Alabama ended up coming back, and they won the game. This year, though, revenge is on the mind of Texas, but not a lot of people get to go on the road and win in Bryant-Denny Stadium, especially when it is former Nick Saban assistant coaches, which is what Steve Sarkisian is. So let's go ahead and dive into some stats. Again, these stats are from last week only. Again, you only have a one-game sample size to judge these teams on, so take stats with a grain of salt, but they're up here nonetheless. Let's talk about the offense for Texas. Really did kind of struggle in that first half against Rice, but it eventually was able to get things moving. Quinn Ewers had some really, really good moments. Again, maybe improving the slight things. Maybe the accuracy at times is a little off, but overall, 260 yards, 3 touchdowns, had himself a pretty good day. The running back room was kind of a run by committee room. Jaden Blue, Jonathan Brooks, C.J. Baxter all got carries, all over 4 yards per carry. Ended up having a combined 158 yards on the day. Quinn Ewers with the lone rushing touchdown. And then it's the usual suspects in the pass catching room, right? Xavier Worthy, Jordan Whittington, they led the team. Jatavian Sanders had 2 catches, but 44 yards. Jonathan Brooks out of the backfield caught some balls. A.D. Mitchell had 3 catches. Isaiah Nayer, coming back from the ACL injury, did have a catch. So the offense was really working for Texas, and definitely going to be interesting to see how this Alabama defense plans for Texas, but we'll talk about the Bama defense when we get there. Let's talk about the Texas defense right now. Definitely still a defense that's going to need to take some steps in the right direction. However, that rush defense last week was fantastic. Now, I know Rice is not the most dynamic of offensive teams, but I mean, JT Daniels is there at quarterback now. Again, he's never really lived up to the hype, but still a solid quarterback nonetheless. And they do really have some really solid wide receiver pieces over there with that Rice program. I mean, they only held that Rice offense to 176 yards. I think it's definitely a step in the right direction for this Texas defense. Forced 3 turnovers, 2 picks, 1 fumble, able to generate pressure to the quarterback, and only generated 2 sacks, but they really were making JT Daniels work outside of the pocket there in that game. I really like the way that Texas defense has been able to come along, but is it ready for the monster that is this Alabama offense? And it averaged over 200 yards, or I should say it gained over 200 yards on the ground and 200 yards through the air in the last game. Jalen Milroe, while he didn't throw the ball 30 times and look super impressive through the air, the times he did throw the football, he only threw 18 times, but guys, 194 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he was the leading rusher on the team in their last game as well. 48 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, average of 7 yards per carry. Kind of looking like Jalen Hurts 2.0 here. I'm just saying. Alabama did great on third down. They were really able to run the ball, throw the ball. This is a dynamic offense. Again, besides Jalen Milroe running the ball, Jace McClellan, Roydell Williams, kind of their leading rushers on this team. But again, a lot of people got carries for Alabama in their last game. Receiving-wise, this is where you maybe had a little bit of some questions about this team, but Isaiah Bond, 5 catches, 76 yards and a touchdown, looked really good. Jermaine Burton looked good. Amari Niblack, who's a tight end, looked good. Kobe Prentice was pretty solid as well. And so those are some of the main guys I think you're going to see featured against this Texas team here as well. But now taking a look at this Bama defense, well, they did pretty much everything you really asked them to do. They did allow Middle Tennessee to gain more yards than what Texas was able to muster up, or excuse me, what Rice was able to muster up against Texas. But the Bama defense did forced 3 sacks. They forced 2 turnovers. They had a pretty good run defense in and of themselves there as well. 78 yards rushing. That's all that they allowed. Caleb Downs, a defensive back, led the way. 8 tackles. Deontay Lawson, pretty good player there as well. 7 tackles for him. Did generate a sack. 1 interception there was caught by Javelin Key. He had 5 tackles. 4 tackles. My apologies there. This is the Bama team that overall just looked really, really good. And it's why they jumped from number 4 is what they were up to number 3. They replaced Ohio State at that number 3 mark. Bama definitely jumped for a reason. This is the team that, hey, look, statistics don't lie, guys. Every single time that a Nick Saban-led team has lost 2 games in the regular season, the season prior, the season after, they go win the national championship. Now, again, that's just what history has told us, not predicting anything there, but this is an Alabama team that's ready, I think, to light the world on fire. There have been a lot of naysayers this past spring and fall and summer that really have kind of discounted this Alabama team. Make no mistake, friends, Jalen Milroe, Nick Saban, this Alabama team are here to stay. So let's go ahead and dive into what I believe are some things you got to watch for, some keys to the game. Quinn Ewers is definitely going to get tested by the Crimson Tide secondary. Again, it is loaded. You got guys like Downs, Arnold, Key, Kool-Aid McKinstry back there as well. He only had 3 tackles, didn't even get a pass defended, but was still instrumental in that game against Middle Tennessee. Didn't really throw his way a ton. But Quinn Ewers and this group of Texas wide receivers, that again is loaded to the brim. You got guys like Worthy, Whittington, guys that weren't really super prevalent but had pretty good days. In Mitchell, he actually did have a touchdown catch. Isaiah Nair. It's a very, very deep Texas wide receiver room, but it could be an even deeper Alabama secondary. That's going to be a huge key matchup to watch. Can Quinn Ewers get the ball to his wide receivers? Does he trust his wide receivers in 50-50 moments? Does he trust them to go get the big play? But the most important thing, in my opinion, for Texas is you got to win the line of scrimmage battle. You got to win it offensively. You got to be able to make room for your host of running backs to be able to go to work. And on the defensive end, you have to create pressure. You have to, again, maybe not necessarily force Jalen Milroe outside the pocket, because I think that's where he really likes to work. Again, kind of that Jalen Hurts 2.0 there. But Jalen Milroe is a guy that you probably are going to have to keep in the pocket, make him make some throws to this Alabama wide receiver unit. And again, that's just my defensive key there, right? Key in on Jalen Milroe. He'll be a big part for the Alabama Crimson Tide in this game. But speaking of Jalen Milroe, this is my first key for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Milroe and the offense is going to be dynamic and going to test this Longhorn defense, especially, I think, on the ground. That 27 rush yards that Texas allowed against Rice, that was it. I think it's going to look very, very different in this game. I think Alabama's got absolute horses in the running back room. Names I'm blanking on. There we go. McClellan, Williams, and then again, even Jalen Milroe when he can get outside of the pocket and work as well. So you really got to key in on the run for Texas, but the secondary is going to have to defend the pass there as well. The Alabama pass rush, get to Quinn Ewers often. If you can force him down, if you can get sacks, and you can keep him from getting the ball, or I should say you can keep him from getting the ball into the hands of these explosive, dynamic wide receivers, you're going to have a pretty good chance to win the game there. But the most important thing you guys have to realize, and this is leading into my prediction, it's Nick Saban in Bryant-Denny Stadium against a former assistant head coach that isn't named Kirby Smart. I think we all know the kind of history that Alabama and, well, I should say especially Nick Saban and the record he has against former assistant coaches of his, and his record in Bryant-Denny Stadium is fantastic. Again, this is a top 11 showdown. Alabama comes in as a touchdown favorite. The FPI really, really likes them to win this game. Again, this is the premier matchup of the week, guys, and I kind of see Alabama pulling away with this one. I do think Texas is going to make it competitive at times. Don't be surprised if this is anywhere from a 3 to 5 point game entering halftime with maybe even Texas in the lead. But this is Alabama at Bryant-Denny Stadium in prime time, a big-time team coming to town. I do not think Alabama is going to lose this game. I think Alabama will pull away late, and it honestly wouldn't even surprise me if Alabama wins by more than the margin that I am setting right here. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. What a matchup we have here in week number 2. Texas versus Alabama. Can't wait to watch this one. Let me know your thoughts on the game in the comment section below. And as always, remember to play hard but tailgate harder. See all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.